what happened. I guess I'm live. I don't know what happened with the last, I guess, going by that power plant. This is also, maybe I see cell towers, but maybe there was a gap in the cell towers. I'll just keep talking as if I'm live. I don't see any comments, but it does say that I'm live. Um, Railtown is down. It's 48 cents, 110,000 shares. And let's go from being negative again. Three things. Where's the buying? Why isn't there any buying? Two, is it some sort of uh, promote? Three, um, uh, I guess this is just not going to work. Yeah, I guess I'm still live. I don't know. I don't know why. It just all went black. Anyway, I'll just keep talking. So there's only three negative things I hear. One, where's all the buying? Two, uh, uh, is there some sort of, you know, I don't know, something wrong here? It smells. There's something wrong. Uh, and do they know what they're doing? Those are the kind of things I hear back. Um, my answer to those three, which might be optimistic, I admit, but I don't think so. I think I'm spot on. Is that last week's news did remove the gag order? The gag, they can talk, but it wasn't complete news. They didn't buy AIP partners. So in that sense, it wasn't a final bit of news. Secondly, the second point is this some sort of, is there something wrong here? I think it's too soon to draw that conclusion. I know we've been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, but I think that's mostly attorneys and regulatory process. And it's another week. I don't think we should give up by any means. In fact, I think this uh, cheats. Wow, they're everywhere now. This is such an important roadhouse. Um, anyway, I think it's annoying because we're waiting and waiting, but it's just one more week. I don't think it kills the story at all. In fact, I continue to believe it gives a great opportunity to buy shares. Um, and then the other question is, do they know what they're doing? I think so. I think they know what they're doing. Very much so. They may not have been public before. I don't know. I don't think they were. And so there may be a learning curve there and they deferred to attorneys too much. But I think they know exactly what they're doing. And the priority for the company is revenues. It's not shareholder relations because the shareholders that matter are going to be the half a dozen to a dozen institutions that buy up stock and put it away. And I know it's hard to believe. They don't care if they pay 50 cents, $5, or $10. They just want to check the boxes and do it within their mandates. In other words, it has to be above $5. And I'll put it away for 10 years. So I do think the company knows what it's doing. Um, we don't know what this news is. We don't know what's on the other side of the news. We don't know when the news is supposed to. It's it's all guessing. Uh, all I can, I think, be confident of is that the company has built a large backlog of revenue deals, and, and maybe they're not ready to announce it yet. Maybe it just takes longer. And again, that it's referring to the attorneys. But I don't think, other than trying to get some reassurance that what William's telling you is correct or close to correct. I don't think the day to day is their news, is their news, is their news, is what's going to make our investment here powerful. I think what's going to make a gigantic change in the equity positions of accounts that hold this are Railtown is revenue. And that's what they don't have to tell us. Be nice. I'd like to know. But who needs to know are the pension plans, the retirement accounts, the big investors behind Constellation Software, the Microsoft needs to know, NVIDIA, uh, I'm behind another truck. This is a serious truck, but I think I'm worried. I don't need to speak by. So we want news because it makes us feel better. We expect news to make the stock price go up. I, I submit to you that it's going to be it's going to be the cumulative effect of a lot of different pieces of news that's going to get the stock price up. Now I know that I predicted that I thought by Friday that tomorrow the stock could be $1.50. I unfortunately I really thought there'd be some news. So I'm just gonna have to move it till next week. I still believe that as news comes out, as the story is told by the most effective salesman the company has, which I believe is Corey Brandolini, uh, buying is going to come in, and I think it's going to go over $1 a share. And my target's $1.25 to $1.50. So call it $1.50. They got some big American flags here. I don't know automobiles for sale. Um, so I went through the three negatives. I just don't agree with the negatives. Uh, uh, one is, does the company know what they're doing? I believe they do. And I think they're prioritizing uh, revenue and maybe talking to institutional clients about what's coming. They've got to show that there's a path to revenue. And, what would be a good target? 100 million? 150 million, you get a multiple on that. You get at 150 million, you get 100 multiple on that. You're a $15 billion company. That's where I think they're focusing their efforts. Um, the other thing is it's some sort of scam. I see no indication of that. I see a bunch of I see an opportunity to is that the Rappahannock? Rappahannock doesn't say. This truck is slowing down. I can't see around the truck, so it makes me. I see. Speed limit is 35 miles here at Port Royal, historic Port Royal. It is historic. I've never seen a town like this. You got old trucks, and flags, and billboards, horse trailers. There's a Port Royal Museum. Sure is historic. There's a termite control. There's an Exxon 10 minutes ahead. Marathon on the other side. It's historic. I feel like I'm in the middle of history. Too bad it's 1965 instead of something more interesting. Um, oh, we could go to Virginia Beach. 17. Used to take 17. This guy's going so slowly, but it probably saved me a ticket. All right, let's get back to it. I don't think there's anything wrong here. I think it's just a company that got delayed by the story getting so much better. And then the attorneys, for whatever reason, couldn't keep up. And so we've been through that hard part. And now it's one more week, unfortunately. It's one more week. But when it ends, it's going to end forever. And the stock will steadily climb upward. And I think it'll make the wait worthwhile. My target still is, I'm going to say $1.50. If they ever announce any news, let's say they announce one or two pieces of news, and they've been talking to investors, and the AIP deal is finalized, and they make a corporate presentation that describes how they're going to get to. He's not going 60. I'm about to. Um, when they get a corporate presentation out that explains their path to revenue, that's all that matters to us. Once they start showing revenue and that it's growing and it's going to be 100, 150 million, 200 million, all of these companies out there, SoundHound is worth $7 billion with a B. One of the competitors for Railtown, a private company apparently, raised 100 million. It's maybe the only competitor, and they haven't even, to my understanding, they haven't even created their software yet, their machine yet. but they raised 100 million at a valuation of 1.1 billion. Well, there's that issue, or I don't know if this company, I think it's a Silicon Valley company, but maybe it's Canadian. I think it's Silicon Valley, so it's a US dollar number. But if you use that number and assume Railtown goes to 1.1 billion, a company that has a battle tested uh, tool, it has customers, it's commercial, it's in its, I don't know, fourth iteration, it's self-learning, and it's universal. It processes all languages and spits it out into easily understandable uh, English, if that's what's necessary. If it just goes to 1.1 billion as revenues become clear as a starting point, that stock goes up 15x from here. 15x. It's just about awareness. And I submit to you, awareness hasn't happened yet. And you're saying, no shite. Don't need you to tell us that. And you have a point. I'm being a little repetitive. Let's see where the stock is. 47.11 on the bid, 48.56. They're moving the ask around a bit to show you there's a lot of stock for sale. There isn't. It's all fake. The volume is uh, looks like 136 million. Sorry, 136,000. Last trade 1,000 shares at 48.18, and the time is 2:30. Doesn't look like anything's going to happen this week, I regret to say. So we got to wait till next week, but that gives us a chance to buy the stock. I had some examples for you yesterday when I was talking to myself because nobody was home. And I was just showing you revenue, I was showing you multiples. I was I was doing a good job. I even played one of Corey's videos for you so that you could see. But that's what I should do. I should just go by memory. Maybe I have my notes here. That's what I'll do. I have my notes here, and I'll try not to lose control while I'm driving. I took notes as I was playing a video for you, which of course you weren't hearing. I can go over those notes I took. I went over them with you yesterday, but you weren't listening because I forgot to hit the start button, I guess, or I didn't hit it properly. I did something wrong, and I regret it. All right, so let's go through Corey's points as I try to stay on the highway. Is it better to finish my live or better to stay on the highway? All right, so what Corey said in his video, which is a year and a half old, so it was a year and a half old. What Corey said very effectively is they started 4 years ago. They wrote a white paper. Uh, they have spent, again, his video was recorded over a year ago. They have spent 3.5 years of training their machine. He calls it a machine. They've spent, as of over a year ago, they spent 3.5 years of training their machine. That's They're ready to go. Uh, he said that the problem they're solving is very large. It's a very the problem they're addressing is a very large and expanding market. They are addressing their machine to software development, the largest market in the world. He said they've used their machine is self-learning. Um, so they've integrated it as of a year ago. They had integrated their tools, their machine, with all developer tools, all developer languages, all developer applications. He made a very strong point that Railtown is a first mover. He said this is a passion play for himself and for Marwan Haddad and the whole team. They had spent decades in the software business, and this problem of security, the problem of bugs shutting down an entire company, the problem of locating bugs and fixing bugs, the problem of uh, uh, doing repetitive work over and over and over again without creating revenue or productivity, eating up developer groups' budgets. They wanted to fix. They wanted to fix it, and that's what they have. Um, so they've targeted removing the mundane tasks, which I recall he said at some point was about 40%. Here's Hidden Acres Campground. Maybe I should just go there. There are so many motels. I don't see any hotels or Holiday Inn, but I see a lot of. Um, so they've worked on taking away the mundane tasks from the development teams and having their machine just do those tasks. Um, Faster. This guy's going. What's the problem? Stoned? Oh, he's elderly. He's me in 6 months. Um, so they're that just to repeat, they're fixing the boring stuff that they instead of the developers having to do it, and they are locating, finding, solving problems using the AI machine. They created a AI agent, an agentic tool. He said, Corey Brandolini pointed out a year ago, he said they've been working on this problem, this this machine, creating this agent for a long time. That's different than most of these new AI companies. They have an idea, they're just jumping into the frenzy. Oh, am I supposed to turn? No, I'm supposed to go straight. go straight for 11 more miles. Sorry, I can't do everything. I can't hold the phone, make a turn, and read my notes all at the same time. So, another thing that he pointed out that is extremely important to understand when Marwan Haddad and Corey started this and wrote their white paper, which I guess is almost 5 years ago, they called up Microsoft. They asked Microsoft, here's our idea. If we do this, I just spun around out of the lane. If we do this, I'm paraphrasing. I'm just imagining what he said. But they called Microsoft. They called Microsoft and might be radar detector. Microsoft, hey, are you doing this? Do you know anybody else that's doing this problem? But what he said, I don't know exactly how the conversation went, but he said they called Microsoft, told them what they're doing, and Microsoft were interested, very interested. So Microsoft had them join their Microsoft partner program. And then he said they made them part of their solutions. They bundled, Microsoft bundled, this is what he said, they bundled, I guess, Conductor, it wasn't called Conductor, into Azure and into GitHub. Pretty powerful statements. Then he said, look, we're battle tested. Our tool is battle tested. And our AI actually helps us build our AI. It's self-learning, self-improvement. There's construction. We're down one lane. Actually, we're down to one side of the highway. The other side is all under construction. The bridge, I see. Bridge. I think it's all about military, and it's also about data centers. I think it's the horse farm. It's beautiful. I don't see any horses. Okay, go back to what I said. So he also said they, as of it over a year ago, they had completed and brought to commercialization two of their first three tools. And they launched those first two with Microsoft. With Microsoft. So battle tested, proven, improving, ready to go. This is the trick with my eyesight. They have cones here pulling you into one lane, and my eyesight couldn't tell that. My brain could. My eyesight's all right. I'm not trying to say that. It's just that depth perception issue. tricky. All right. He said we are a SaaS solution, software as a service solution. But why he brought that up, he said it's high margin. He said this is high margins. Remember, SoundHound doesn't make money, and it's worth $7 billion. He said that the Railtown products are easy to sell because they understand every language. They understand every developer tool. They can work with all tools. All there's the Cavaliers. Well, I get to the great and French. Um, what's a cop? Uh, okay. Yeah, easy to sell. They There's no barrier to entry in terms of marketing the product. Everybody in the computer software development world can, and in his opinion, will use Railtown. It's a generative AI co-pilot, and it increases productivity and lowers costs, and does other things. Beautiful out here. We're in the middle of nowhere, but it is gorgeous. Uh, he said in an average developer's day, or developer group's day, only 20% of their time goes to writing code because of the inefficiencies, the mundane tasks, the problem solving, looking for bugs, all that stuff. Only 20% of a typical developer team's time goes to actually writing new code. He said this is a big problem, big problem that they're solving. He went on to say that 40% of a developer, he calls them devs, of devs' time, of a developer's time, 40%. Let me just watch the guardrail before I hit it. Uh, 40% of a developer's time is fixing problems. And then he pointed out Rogers Communications that shut down. I have no idea what happened. I think that's a Canadian company anyway. But he pointed out that Stripe did a study on this very issue. He said that he and Marwan had experienced this over the decades of their software development. But Stripe did a study, and they said, Stripe did, that there's a 42% productivity loss with developer teams because they have to run all these mundane, repetitive tasks. Then he went through his product root cause, and release notes, and he called it Scrum Master. I think that's their granddaddy, and I think Scrum Master they changed the name to Conductor. But when he did this video, they hadn't changed the name yet. So He called what they do, instead of a large language model, a target language model, targeted language model. And and red light, red light, red light, green light. All right, middle of nowhere. Uh, Targeted language model, and he differentiates that from a large language model in that they go into a company, and it's vertical, of course. That's the terminology. My brain check. There's 90. There's a shopping center being built. Why this model is still being built is beyond me. We should be building uh, more localized places to live with trains going between them, and maybe electric cars or electric cars in the cities, maybe cars for the highways, but there's not enough gasoline to keep up this suburban sprawl. But it's what the banks are financing. And the trees, my gosh, they tear down all these trees and then they put up a few solar panels. Let's see. Targeted language. It's not out on the internet. And Marwan came in to talk. They get along very well. Um, and he talked about how secure it was. It's real time access. It's in the cloud. They have a large ingestion engine, like Governor Christie. Um, they went through that, the co-pilot. Um, they said all the things it does. I'm not going to go through it, but the point is it uses all the different languages. He gave a couple of examples: Java and C sharp, and then some more that I didn't get. Marwan Haddad said that this tool takes a developer's team hours, what could take a couple or a few hours of time, takes it down to a couple of minutes. Uh, it's another way to turn green. So Corey came back on and he said, and then they the red fern market. Through his various products, a little more detail. I'm going to skip that. To take a look there. Favorite fantasy. Oh, it's beautiful. I needed to turn left there. So anyway, they went through their two machines, and they had the third, which is called Scrum Master. They expected to be ready in the next quarter. All right, I'm going to turn here into Carmel School. I'm not going to go all the way into this. Oh, yes, I am. Sorry. Okay. Make sure. Remember. There we go. It's nice. It's cool. I want to get the hell out of here. A lot of cars, a lot of automobiles. All right, now go back to the highway. And right, so much noise. Right, I'm looking at Railtown. It's 47.2. It's down today. And I'm certain that the majority of that selling is non-existent shares. I know what you're saying. Where's the buying? Well, the buying may be waiting for the AIP deal to be finalized. And the buying may be waiting for Corey. And the buying may be waiting for clarity on revenues. Right, will I take a right here? I think I do. I'm gonna do it US Route 1. It's not what it's saying. Let's see what it's doing. I think I'm supposed to go straight through. That's what happened. only eight, so there we go. 7 miles per hour to the trick. So they talked about their third uh, product being ready in a quarter. That was a year ago, over a year ago. So that's obviously they called it Scrum Master. I think that's how it's conducted. Well, then Corey talked about how big is this market? How big is the addressable market? He said it's gigantic. He used two different numbers. This one, I'm sure I'm not hitting anybody, but I picked he said it's a gigantic market and it's growing. It's 11 billion. This is when he talked. It was in 2024. He said there's 11 billion spent annually on developer tools. 11 spent annually on developer tools. Then he went on to say that the cost, the added cost to companies annually for software development because of AI is $300 billion a year. 300 billion with a B a year. He pointed out that that cost actually ends up not being a cost. I mean, it's a cost, but it ends up paying for itself in terms of increased productivity and cash flow. So companies are going to spend it because it improves their competitive position. 300 billion. Right, there's a truck right next to me. I don't know. It's high, okay. Well, then he talked about GitHub. Well, GitHub said that the developer tools market, AI, is going to add, when they install all of this, it's going to add $1.5 trillion to global GDP, which I took to $1.5 trillion. That's what would happen with conductors. Or I should say it differently. That's what could happen. All right. I've just pissed somebody off. I don't know. The stock is 472. The volume's 174,000. The last trade is 150 shares at 47.2. Just simply had to get out of $75, $70 worth of stock. but I'm not going to look at any other stocks because it's dangerous. And I can't. All right, well, I'll do more when I get when I let do more. I'll get live in about 2 hours, 3 hours.